Hey, good morning, good morning. Morning Goose, morning Sledge, morning Al, good morning everybody. If you want to chat with me, all you have to do is be a subscriber, hit the button, whichever side it's on, and then a few seconds later you can start chatting right on the live stream. But you can only chat while I'm live. If you're watching this again later, after this is not live, then you'll have to leave me a comment down below and I can get back to you. While you're at it, while you're clicking buttons or doing things, you might as well hit the bell with the alerts, get notified when I go live every single morning. At least every single morning I can possibly try to do it. And yeah, if YouTube thinks you'll watch it, you'll get a notification. So participate. Hey, Michael, glad to have you. Glad to have you. Morning, everybody. So, Worldwide Developer Conference for Apple kicking off this week. And you know what? That's not typically bullish. Now, everybody's kind of hyped up, excited about the VR headset thing they're allegedly going to talk about or release or provide details about, the new iOS versions they're going to talk about. But you know what? It's usually a buy the hype. You know, Apple typically ramps up into WWDC, which is Worldwide Developer Conference, and then we typically get some sell-off as this actually happens, and maybe the features aren't and everything's not quite as awesome and hypey as we were hoping it might be. So, morning, Michael. Morning, Aaron. And yeah, I'm glad you like the monster graphics. That's all Midjourney. I have a subscription to Midjourney and work on it quite a bit. Just trying to, it's like AI stuff. You kind of have, there's some prompt know-how goes into it to generate the thumbnails, and then, yeah, a little bit of magic. I've been doing it for 3 months now, and getting better and better at getting awesome graphics out of the thing. They kind of changed something this weekend, and it was really throwing me for a loop. And I started playing with some of the switches and got some good graphics. So hopefully more good stuff coming later in the week. All right. Got my purple monster this morning, grape. And for those that don't know, I don't like hot liquids, don't like coffee. So anyway, WWDC. And then also we have OPEC putting out a 1 million barrel cut. The Saudi, what was it, Goose? The Saudi oil minister. Is that what I was telling you? Kind of trying to stick it to the shorts. And this is like, it reminds me of Elon Musk. You know, people in power to affect prices of things. When they get upset at traders shorting their stuff, you gotta watch out. Now, the OPEC believes that traders worldwide are shorting oil, and the kind of net positioning kind of shows that that's actually what's happening. There's a lot of people accumulating large net short positions in oil, expecting oil to go down on this recession that's supposed to happen. And you know what? I think that this may be late. This already happened. So let's go ahead and throw this up. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation here, informational, educational, and fun. I may never be right again, though. And it's not a recommendation to buy or sell any financial instrument because, you know, I may not ever get this right again. I'm going to take my headphones off. So if you desire personal financial advice, you need to hire, consult a financial advisor. It has a fiduciary duty to give you advice based on your situation. Otherwise, you got to make your own decisions. You know, believe me if I'm right or wrong or full of crap or whatever, or not fact or crap. You know, you got to make your own decisions. So let's go ahead and load up the morning monster list here, and let's talk about oil. Reload. Pulling up Rose. And Rose tried to break out through the roadmap line. Look at that. It got rejected. Ouch. I did pick some up. That's Rose USD. That's Oasis crypto. Remember, not everything I talk about works out. So CL right here. We were getting a pop big on that news over the weekend. Right up, trying to break out above resistance, retracing almost the whole move. Now coming back up. We do have resistance at the roadmap line right up here. I did say this was going to be bullish on a break above 70. And that's what we got. I went long, and I closed out my oil short when we bounced right in the target zone. I mean, I put the target on there. We hit it. We hit in the target. We found resistance, or we found support at the lower support box down there. We started launching off. This thing is likely to go on up at this point. Now, the targets for oil right now. Try to get it right to the tip there. Probably looking at this 80 to 84 zone right here for the next move. We do have significant resistance at the roadmap line. This is not going to happen today, more than likely. It's probably going to be the next couple weeks. Something looks more like this. So, looking for something like that happening out of... come on, grab the bar, not the chart. Yeah. May stop right in here. That's the target. Could be a move that big or bigger. But I do expect some sort of pullback after we break through the roadmap line. So we'll probably continue right on up here like this, and then do some sort of retrace back to the line, retest support at the line, and then move on up. Maybe go retest that resistance right there from those two highs we made back in October. All right, that's kind of the plan forward. You might be like, JT, this makes no sense. We're in a recession. Everybody says we're in a recession. You know what? I think the recession was back here. And this is the final fallout from it. This is people expecting the recession. We hit the target levels. We got to the levels I've been talking about for, gosh, what, a year? Now, ever since we topped out back here in March of 22, I was talking about we're going to make these targets all the way down here. We finally made them back here in March. Now it's time to reverse. Now it's time to go. Everybody was talking about higher oil all through 2022, and guess what? It didn't happen. And now that we got down to the levels I was looking for, now I'm expecting it to reverse. Ways to play: you could play USO, you could play UCO. USO. I think this one, this one's actually on the morning monster list as a mover this morning. Breaking up pretty good. All right, this is a United States oil fund right here, showing a nice little pop. On Friday, gonna break up even higher today. We're still below the roadmap line. Be cautious. UCO is my favorite way to play. This is the one I went long on. This is a leveraged. Be careful. This is leveraged. You should never trade leveraged stuff, especially never trade options on leveraged stuff, especially if you don't understand what you're doing. Now, this thing does split. They did a split. So this thing can go crazy. Oh, gosh, excuse me. They did a 1 for 25 back here. All right, they collapsed it, or they, I guess boosted it up here, and they collapsed it here, 4 for 1. So we do reverse splits on this thing occasionally from time to time. Be careful. All right, this is a leverage instrument. This is not a long-term instrument for trading oil. This has decay to it. With all that said, I'm kind of expecting it to pop up, potentially up into this zone up here around 38 to 40. These fib levels aren't quite accurate at this point. Yeah, maybe a little less, maybe 35 to 40, due to the deep nature of this retrace. Now, that all said, this is a leveraged instrument. My methods and targets don't always work. For getting the actual targets. One to prove that on would be this one. We came up just shy of the target right here. Didn't quite make it. Now we're retracing, and we're doing, instead of doing it at that target up there, we're doing it back down here, getting a little deeper, right back like that. So this thing could bounce here and come back up to this level. We came up short, doing the retrace, and leverage instruments don't always work out right. See, this one's a 3x bull on semiconductors, and it came up short of the target. That happens to be the way a lot of leverage instruments do. Like TSLL tends to come up a bit short of targets. Now this one's about to break out and be a long trade again. So this one, pull this one down, Probably going to head up to this $15 to $17 area, which just happens to be the resistance zone where we consolidated. So, throwing lots of stuff out there. So UCO, back to UCO. This one I do expect to break out. We do have significant resistance. If you look at the downtrend, we've had a significant downtrend going on oil, right along the roadmap line, right along those highs. We need to break out to go higher on UCO. Of course, it's been in a downtrend since March of last year. March last year was the high in oil. UCO actually made its high here in June, right when they did the split. And then it's been down, 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 down. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about ES, S&P 500. Now we've kind of talked about OPEC and all that stuff. We're in the zone. We're in the reversal zone, potentially. We're getting near the top we had from August, right here. The levels, this is going to get harder and harder to get up here. This may do a topping action like NQ did right here, where we kind of run out of steam a little bit, then pop up and hit it, get a little reaction, then maybe poke through. NQ has resistance on up here at 15.2 from the high it made over a year ago. It's getting to be, May, April, March, and getting to be like 14, 15 months ago at this point. We'll probably go retest that resistance, and this is not a sure bet. Retesting this one I was pretty confident. Retesting this one, I'm not sure. We could run out of airspeed and take a nosedive here and come retrace some levels. Be careful. This thing does not have to keep going higher. In fact, I'm kind of cautious right now that we don't see a large pullback. Now, Russell poking up above the roadmap line. This was very constructive on Friday. Just kind of churning here at the roadmap line. This is very constructive. I drew this giant blue arrow. I've been talking about it for a couple weeks, that if we broke back above that kind of resistance right there, that we could see a rapid price appreciation up into this 2,000 to 21, possibly even 2,200 point area on Russell. This is still one I have an eye on. This could be a huge opportunity for something like IWM right here. All right. And it is getting a little retrace, going to retest the highs from where it broke out. We're going to retest all these little highs we made for a couple months here. Probably going to retest that. As long as it can hold above there, probably going higher. If we start breaking down below that, it can come right back down to the bottom of this box where we found the lows for months and months. All the way back into early March when the banking system started looking weak. Now, there is risk here. The banking situation is not all fixed. A couple little quick band-aids did not fix that. So regional banks are heavy in IWM. That's where a lot of them exist in this Russell 2000, which is the small cap stocks. And we could see it come down again, if not go lower. So this is, there's a bit of danger in playing with Russell right now. It can very quickly appreciate higher, but right now, caution is advised. So we've talked about oil. Gold, probably still looking to come down and test the roadmap line. Silver, I went long. Silver is looking more advanced than gold. Gold looking like it's going to retrace right on back down here. Despite this little bump, I was warning that bump was probably just a retrace, and we'd get continuation down lower to the support at the roadmap line. You can see similar sort of move right here before we dip down again. This thing could, if it double bottoms here and finds support above the roadmap line, that can be game on for the next move. But right now, coming up a little shy, and I do expect one more push down into this zone. Hopefully retest the roadmap line, but it may come up a little short. It may find support just at the prior lows. May find buyers. So that's what I got my eye on gold. Bitcoin still churning, and for whatever reason I keep updating this box and it just doesn't stick. We came up to the top of the box. We're coming back down to the bottom of the box. We can't seem to break out of the box on Bitcoin, but this does have a measured bounce type setup off this low and a retrace to the 618. If we can get going at all, has a power move up to about 32,000. Could get there pretty quickly. Ethereum just consolidating above the box. Like the box was down here and we broke out above it, and we're just keep consolidating inside candle, inside candle, inside candle, over and over. Can't get out of the range. So crypto right now is not showing that the market is risk on yet. So this is my risk on, risk off gauge for the market right now. You know, I don't care, store of value, blah, blah, blah. Crypto is kind of like a hedge against the fiat system blowing up, and it's a risk on, risk off trade. So when the market is risk off, we tend to see crypto languish or go down. When the market is risk on, we tend to see explosive moves up. So right now, we're not seeing, we're just seeing a lack of interest right now. It's not really risk off where we go down. It's not really risk on where we're going up. We're just churning sideways, which indicates everybody's just kind of waiting. What's next, right? The dollar, we were getting a retrace and bounced off the roadmap line again. Just kind of churning just above the roadmap line. We could break out and go test the highs here, where we topped out back here. Topped out back there in March. Or we can break down lower. This right now looks like we're going to make a lower high and go make a lower low. That would be my primary expectation. The dollar can change it up and do something different though. All right. Morning Beth, morning Craig, morning everybody. So Apple showing a little strength. Pre-market up about $1.50. Going to try to test those levels there. We do have an ultimate target up here about 199. WWDC, I'm just warning that we haven't had a pullback since March right here when we touched the roadmap line. We haven't had any we've just been grinding higher in these little bitty, just little bitty squiggles grinding higher. We haven't had a major pullback in several months, couple months here. So WWDC, we could, the Worldwide Developer Conference, we could see a little bit of pullback. So just because Apple's been showing strength doesn't mean it's going to continue. We could see some rotation out of Apple, out of Microsoft, out of NVIDIA, into some other tech names that have potentially more room to grow to catch up. CJET, I just pulled these off of StockTwits. Let's see, do I even have StockTwits up? Yeah, I do right here. Oh, snap, it crashed. Right here, see Apple, CJET, HKD. I just pulled a few of these, and they're probably changing out which ones are on here because that's what it does. Looking at the trending, what's trending. I pulled this before I started talking. So CJET getting a little pop, but that's a choppy, nasty chart right there. And don't trade garbage. I mean, that's a garbage chart right there. So I wouldn't venture to say anything about that particular chart. HKD, that looks like a dead chart. See, this is a classic bubble and nothing. Zoom it up and nothing there. Nothing. Looks like the market just opened. BLPH, ouch, down to $1. I warn about this stuff. This one is a pharmaceutical biotech, dangerous, and right back down to where that was a bubble and right back down. Ouch. AZN, just despite the hype, whatever was trending on StockTwits, just parked in the consolidation. Probably going to come back and retest the roadmap line if I had to venture a guess on the next move. Looks like it found found resistance at this 1272 and back to the 100. Now it could find support there and bounce up to the 1618. But at this point, I give a higher likelihood to just go ahead and retrace on down to the roadmap line. DAWN, nice little pop. It's a pharmaceutical. Be careful. Pharmaceuticals do not follow my patterns. This one looked like a garbage chart over here. Crazy pop. And that's a pattern for continuation lower. I would be very careful. I'm losing a ton of money. Rig. This one bouncing off the roadmap line can pop out. I would not be a buyer until above about 720. Looking for 8 or 9, possibly 10 on a really stretch move. So that one's interesting. USO, of course, was on here. Probably going to come up to the roadmap line. Does have prior highs here. And we could see, oh, remove the wrong thing. This thing could be a deep measured bounce and could get a large outsized type move up. What kind of outsized move up? Talking about up here, upwards of 79 to 84. That would be the ideal target right up in there. 75 to 85. That's the target zone right there if it can break out above the roadmap line. So it does have resistance that we're going to have to get through to get up there. OPCH, the medical stuff, nursing services, I don't know. That looks like a garbage chart of sideways, choppy, gnarly action. Didn't do that up there. So that's got resistance right there. It's just more sideways, choppy garbage. Be careful. DPST. God, that can go on down. Remember, this is a daily bull 3x. So any given day, and they just did a 1 for 10 split today. So that was going to 0, and they just bumped it up 10x. Give it more room to go down. I wouldn't be super bullish on regionals right now. As I said, the problems are not resolved. So I think Boeing. What's Boeing? Boeing, maybe? I don't know what Boeing's going to do today. We can look at it in a second. CIR, just trying to break out. That could go higher. It could. That resistance right there. We've got this pullback right to the roadmap line. That puts an extension out to 33, possibly 35. Oh, it popped up to 47. Look at that. Yeah, all the way up here. It's likely to retrace. Wasn't even zoomed out enough to see the current candle up there. Likely to retrace. Unless that's a buyout. Yeah. That's a buyout, so it's just going to park at the buyout price and not do anything. So buyouts just do this. The opportunity is not there for doing anything with it. In RGU, man, 3x leverage big oil. There's another way to play oil in RGU. That one looks rough though because it's not really moving. Like that looks like more sideways. So this one not necessarily responding as well as some other ones. But look at the prices on that thing. That's 250 and that was 790. So this thing, 3x leverage ETN, that one could go high. I don't know if the options are available on that one. So, but that looks like a sideways chop. And it did pop. Interesting here is that it did not make a high in March. It made a high in June and then has been chopping down back to the lows. PANW, Palo Alto Networks breaking out. Next target up probably 237. And right up in there, 237, 246. Gush. Now, these can go, but gosh, man, that's It's a gnarly chart. Got to get above the roadmap line to. My play on UCO is speculative. I'm not even gonna. That's a small position, small risk, and it may not go. I may be completely wrong on oil, but the chart looks like it's gonna go higher. Let's see, Treasury Bear, TMV, Tango Mike Victor. I don't know. That looks like sideways for months now. Nothing clear there. SAIC. Funny enough, this is the company from which my engineering company is a spinoff. My dad spun off his company from SAIC back in the 80s, 1980s. So that one looks like it could be a breakout. We do have resistance right up here. And if it can break through that resistance, looks like 123, 130 on the upside. Tesla looks like it's working on coming up here to retest this. Still has a long way to go retest the August highs. Triple top there and then dropped out. Got a long way to go. Still almost a 50% increase. That's what it actually is today. Still 40%, 42% increase from the current price up to retest those highs from August. PXD just churning underneath the roadmap line. This could be a measured bounce setup. Could be. Right to the levels. We got to break out above the roadmap line. Back above here to get the continuation. Back above 220 to see that next move. And if I set this like this, I do have resistance right there, but the potential is to go up to 300, possibly even 334 from a current level about 200. Pretty nice, pretty nice. XOP looking like it needs to break out above the roadmap line. That's a lot of oil is stuck under the roadmap line. That is a significant resistance to going higher. Even the CL chart needs that. And then EPAM getting hit, lower low. Ouch. Don't trade garbage charts. This thing can go retest this low from back here in February of last year, February, March. KOLD getting slammed a little bit on oil and gas popping. That can come back to the roadmap line, but it can also break out and go higher as this is an ultra short natural gas. Be careful, leveraged, ultra short. Leverage stuff does not always work on the patterns. And then NVIDIA down here, getting a little bit of a retrace, not huge. Was down pre-market, but obviously showing a little strength after the market opens. Churning at this top area. This was a very, very, very extended move higher. We are significantly away from the market roadmap line down here, although it's going to come up quickly. This thing can experience a large retrace on the order of 40 to 50%. You might be like, that sounds impossible. AI is the revolution of the future. Look right over here. Very quickly, in about 40 days, we did a 38% retrace right there. Not that long ago, back in 21. You may be like, well, the conditions aren't the same right now. Well, guess what? The conditions don't have to be the same for something that went up exponentially and is at 36 to 38 times the sales. All right, their price right now at 400 is about right around 37 times their sales. That's not sustainable, all right? They can't support that kind of stock price with that kind of move. Be careful. So Boeing right here, not really moving today, 1%. That's this was the chart of the week for 2 weeks ago. Above, entry above 212, which we're at 210 right now. Resistance right here at the prior highs, and then targets at 225. So this thing may go. It's a longer term trade. We bounced off the roadmap line. It was a beautiful setup. So just retesting where we broke out from. These highs right here, retest it, and then potentially go. So, alrighty. And then let's see, ABBV. Hopefully that one's moving. If you're talking about it in the chat, not really moving. It's came down to the target. Took a little extra time. See that right there? Right over there. Right to the target price. Just took it a little extra time. Now, if it can reverse, it needs to run up, break above the roadmap line, and am I buying it here? Heck no, that's not any kind of anything. Like that's a garbage sideways chart, potentially gonna go lower. I would be very careful here. That one can definitely go lower. It could rally up to the roadmap line. You can make pretty good money, 12 bucks or 15 bucks. If it breaks above the roadmap line, it could go to the upper target, but right now that looks like it's a setup for going lower, not a setup for going higher. So please be careful. All right. Morning, Philip. All right, everybody. So bias for the day. I'm sure that's what everybody wants to know. JT, what's your bias for the day? Topping action is kind of the bias. I do expect S&P to go up, hit that 43. And we did top out back here at 43.2750 was the high from August 16th on ES. Maybe for those that know futures, you might be like, well, that was different contracts. Okay, we can say that, but you know what? We keep rolling forward, and the contracts keep doing their thing. So I don't really look at it that way as being substantially different. But if you want to trade something like SPX or SPY, I mean, you could just load it up and look. The high right there was 43.2528. So highly likely that we hit 43.25-ish on S&P 500. May not hit it to the penny, may not hit it to the dollar, but we'll probably come up there, test that 4,300-ish area, and then probably get a reaction. And that reaction can be substantial all the way back down to the daily roadmap line, right back down here, like that, somewhere around 4,100, maybe as low as 4,000. And we do have the 618 retrace to contend with when we get up here, wherever it is that we top out. That can be all the way down to about 39.80. All right, you may be like, what does that mean for SPY? Well, look right here. We're already hitting extensions of that swing, and we have this high to contend with. That was for SPY at about 431.73. Trying to read the little numbers on the screen. That's about 10 feet away. There you go. We're right up at it for SPY. This one can lead to a substantial retrace down here to like 405. And if we remove the fib targets and we put in the bigger retrace target off of this low to this high, yep, could see it all the way down to 400, possibly down to 390 on SPY. In Q, which is QQQ, we could see a larger retrace. This thing trying to get up to these highs from right up here, up, moving stuff that I don't need to move. Pull this over. These highs right here, see where we topped out, 1, 2, 3 highs right there. Creates this resistance that we may be on a path to go test up around 367 to 370. And then we could see an outsized retrace back down to 315-ish. All right. This is why I'm very cautious right now. It'll be like a 15% retrace. All right. This one also plunging down into the abyss, lower than we've seen for a while, since January 21, looks like. See, we don't tend to hang out at the bottom very long before we come off the bottom. So I did buy some July VIX contracts, just right at the money. Looking for this thing to spike again. Be careful. Volatility is coming. All right. Historically, we see volatility in June spiking up. Let's see if I can pull up the chart on one of these that has the volatility right here. Here's my volatility of the S&P 500. This is the VIX. We typically, historically, see a VIX spike into that second week of June and then into the fourth week of June. Maybe like JT, I don't see how you tell what day. Look, the month starts here, June 1st. The month ends here, June 30th, July 1st, right there. Just kind of divide it visually in four. Like half is right down the middle. That would be a spike into that second week, roughly. First week, kind of chill. Second week, although we're seeing this, not seeing this yet. So this could be into the third week. Be careful, all right? Be careful, be careful. All right. If y'all are throwing out tickers, I hope they're moving, because otherwise I'm not going to spend much time on them. We'll look at Celsius, CELH. Come on now. What was that? CELH. Celsius Holdings. Yeah, right at the targets. Probably going to get a retrace. 1618. Yeah, up 5%. That's at the 1618. So be careful. Be careful. 146. I wouldn't expect it much higher than that before the next retrace. Yeah. And then SDGR. Yeah. Schrodinger. Does Schrodinger exist if you don't pull it up? Nothing. That's just consolidating in a range. It's makes a big percent move, but don't expect it to do anything until it breaks out or breaks down. IPI is garbage. Don't touch that. All right. And you want to look at MCD? That's not moving, so nothing to talk about. All right. The Morning Monster looks for stuff moving today. That McDonald's isn't moving. So if you want to make requests, Tuesday, the stream at 5 p.m. on Tuesdays, I'll look at your request for 30 minutes and give you a more in-depth analysis. But the morning shows, just looking for what's moving. Looking for bias for the day, what to check out today. And McDonald's is not one of those that's interesting to me today. It's not near a reversal point. It's not breaking out. It's not doing anything. And so there you go. Thanks for coming. We'll do this again tomorrow and look at what's moving, what potentially might be moving today, where we're getting to. S5FI coming back up to 50, right back to the middle. NDFI churning right here, still in the middle. So I was warning about a reversal on just based on S5FI. S5FI. We could get that pop all the way back up to the top, back up to the 80s. So we came down here right near the 20s. Was expecting a move back up. A little bit biased for a lot of S&P 500 companies to catch up. We may see the leaders start lagging, start giving up a little bit of their gains. So just keep it in mind. We may see some rotation. All right, we may rotate out of AI and into oil and possibly utilities. Why utilities? Well, something tells me we may see utilities outperform. All right. If you want to continue the conversation, come join me in Discord. Links in the description. You can join Market Roadmap for like $5 if you want to. And come chat with us in Discord all day. We'll keep market updates going. Otherwise, I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.